sent the contents to you, right? There are a lot of PPTs that is available, as well as we have given you, I've given you. If I ask you some questions now, expecting some answer, that's it. So not just to test your
So,
knowledge or threaten you, something like that, all right? Just to find out what you understand so that I can start from there. That's it. Yeah, proceed.
So process of conducting research using survey data.
Survey. Okay, collecting data using some survey. Fine. Now my
Yes.
next question is like,
sir,
what
I
is survey?
want to give an example.
Yeah,
Uh,
please.
when we take census,
Hmm.
uh, so census,
हाँ
look, yes,
हाँ,
that
सेंसस
time
में
we
डेटा
take,
है ना, वो सब तो सर्वे है ना, सेंसस का ये
yes,
सर्वे डेटा है, तो उस डेटा में क्या करेंगे बताइए?
सर वो
What
हम
they'll
लोग
do?
अलग अलग डेटा कलेक्ट करते हैं कि कितने मतलब कि कितना डेथ रेट हुआ है कितना
Yes, exactly.
यस
Like you will try to collect what is the demographic categorization means, like how many male, how many female, what is their age group, in what age group, what is the percentage of people in that particular locality. Likewise, census is calculated to find out how many people are there and who are alive or not alive and what is their different
यस
profiling.
सर
So that it will give an outline for the government to plan certain activities, right? So by that way, we'll come to know what is the percentage of youth in the country. Okay, if you want to know
यस
that, then that information will be helpful, right? Similar way, survey is something where you're collecting some data. It comes in the primary or secondary. So now, survey is primary or secondary data?
So it is the primary
Survey
data.
is the primary data.
Primary data. That's good. I see.
Yes.
Fine. So the survey is a primary data. Here we are trying to collect the first-hand information. So once after the survey is done, it is getting published. No? It is getting published in the mobile phone and stuff, right? So that becomes what?
secondary
That
data
becomes, yeah,
so secondary data
secondary data. Fine.
yes
So that becomes a secondary data. So what will happen is like we are not going to collect the data first time. We are collecting it from secondary available source. That becomes your secondary. These are the two major types of data which will be highly helpful for a researcher. See, first of all, like this we have discussed in the second chapter itself, like on research process. If you recall, we were discussing about what is identification of problem and then review of literature. Then we had a flow chart, right? So in that we have discussed about review of literature. So this secondary data is highly helpful for a person, for a layman, or for a researcher, or who is interested in knowing something. That will help them to find out what is already existing, what people have already researched, and what information, what level the information is available. That will help you to find out the available information on it. So when it comes to primary data, it is something like you are trying to find data for the first time. Maybe the phenomenon may be existing already. For example, on if you go to any kind of mall, right? For example, simple. I'll take a simple example here you are familiar with. You're just entering into the bazaar. You're seeing some attractive cloth. You feel like yes, I want to buy. The phenomenon is like yes, if you see something attractive by means of your perception that is by visual, you are getting attracted. You want to purchase that product. Am I right? So that kind of purchasing is a phenomenon which already exists, but still you are trying to measure it by on your own, just by uh, collecting some primary data. Fine. Now this survey research, we'll just enter into survey. That is the area, survey research. So it is completely dealing with primary data. Now, can you see my screen? Can someone reply? Just give me a confirmation here. Yeah, okay, okay, fine. So, what is happening in survey researches? It is defined as a research method used for collecting data from a predefined group of respondents to gain information and insight on various topics of interest. Means you are collecting from a predefined group. For example, if I want to collect certain information about sugar patients, right? I want to collect certain information from the sugar patient. Then who is my target audience and who is my predefined group? People who are all with sugar, right? So if they have some issues, they are the right respondent for me to respond. this is a predefined group. If I want to talk about self-help group, women self-help group, who is my target audience? Will it be a general public? Can it be a general public while we are collecting data relating to self-help group? It's not possible, right? It cannot be a general public. So it should be very specific. Who is my target audience? From them, I am supposed to collect data. That is what is predefined. So it is a method used for collecting data from a predefined group of respondents to gain information and insight on various topics of it. Fine. Now, serve has a variety of purpose and can be carried out in many ways, depending upon the methodology chosen and the objective to be achieved. For example, like I want to collect data which is already existing, right? There, I'll try to collect it using a questionnaire, right? So this is I'm introducing one more area in survey research, that is a questionnaire. So what I do is that I can send the questionnaire to people to mail. For example, I'm collecting a data from a company, from an organization. Assume that you're working as an working in the HR department and you want to collect some information from your employees. Then it is easily accessible. So what you can do is like you can create a Google form. Have you heard of Google form? Yes, anyone? Some reply. Preetham, have you heard of Google form? Preetham, are you there? Okay. Silas, Silas, you can unmute and answer. Google form, have you heard of it? Right. Anyone of the group, can you just give me an answer? Have you heard of Google form? What is it? How it works? Yeah, Ayushi. Then.
Sir, it is an app used to create forms of data collection process purposes.
Okay, it is a sheet, right? This is simple. It is like you are trying to send an online link. You're using an online platform and then you try to post whatever questionnaire you have. Questionnaire means the instrument by which you are collecting the data. That instrument you try to create in the form of a form which can be forwarded through mail, which can be forwarded through mail, WhatsApp also. And people can view and then view their responses, which will get recorded in the backend using an Excel. You can download that using an Excel sheet, right? So the likewise, there are Google Form, Question Pro. There are certain software which are available or some links which are available by which you can collect the data, right? First hand data. Now, while going back to the same example, if I want to collect information from my employees, then the better option, if I want to collect the right kind of response, then probably I can fix up some person from outside who is normally related to the organization and ask him to collect the data. If I want a real data, I'll ask him to collect the data where he doesn't want to register the name of the respondent. By that way, uh, the confidentiality will be maintained, so we can get some better response. So I was talking about debriefing and then informed consent all in the previous class. So similar way, like using some third person, then probably will get some good result. I'm
Excuse me,
getting
sir.
yeah.
सर आवाज बहुत कट रही है सर, तो सर कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा।
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
It's fine, right? Clear?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Okay. If I want to collect an information from my employees in an organization, the way by which I can collect is like if I want a real true data, exactly what people feel, what employees feel, then probably I can go seek a help of a third person who may be a consultant and ask him to do a project on my behalf and then I'll get it, which normally companies will not do, right? So by which the data will be like real data because it is collected by a third person where the respondent's name and other details will not be recorded or registered. The other alternative is like I don't want to hire a person from outside. Instead, I want to collect the information by myself. So here also it is possible like I can give it to my different departmental heads and through them I can collect. Again, the problem is like since it is departmental heads, sometimes people will not try to give their original response or actual response. Third is like I can create a online tool. I can create an online platform where like I can use Google Form. There I'll mention that you need not mention about your name and email ID and any details. Then probably like I may be getting some better response as well. So by this way, depending upon what type of information I need, what should be the rigor or what should be the authenticity of the data, I'll be using certain tools. Sometimes I don't want to interact with people. Okay, I don't want to interact with people, but just by observation, I want to come to a conclusion. For example, this we have discussed in the class also. We want to know that how the students of MBA are behaving in the class and how they are interested, whether they are interested in the class or not. So if I want to know those information, simply using your camera, right? So whatever camera has been installed, if we just observe that, we come to know whether the students are interested and how well they are participating. So here, the respondent is not asked any question by the interviewer, right? So there is no face-to-face interaction or there is no interaction between the researcher as well as the respondent as well. So this kind of data we call it as observation, which is not coming under the classification as survey. Here, survey represents face-to-face interaction where two people are involved. It may be like it may be face-to-face or it may be one-to-one, right? That will be one respondent and one researcher who will be doing it, right? So depending upon the methodology. For example, if I want to collect some data which I doesn't know much, then probably I don't have much of idea, and lot of literature is also not available. Then I used to change my methodology. What I'll do is I'll try to collect certain experts. I'll call certain experts. I'll have a discussion with them. The points which are arising out of the discussion, from that I'll try to create the questionnaire, and then I'll try to collect the data. That we call it as focus group, which you'll be studying in the forthcoming slides. Now, so with this few information, let me proceed further. The most popular technique for gathering primary data in which a researcher interact with people to obtain facts, opinion, and attitude. So this survey method is especially used for finding facts or identifying facts, getting opinion, and measuring the attitude. Attitude doesn't mean whatever you're studying in OB. It's not a single term what you talk about attitude. Attitude talks about people's mindset, people's reaction, people's thought. All right, all these things together, it is mentioned in research terminology as attitude. Now, see, these are all the various forms of survey research. Am I audible to you? Are you all here?
So,
Yeah. You can hear me clearly now, Hannah? Harshita, can you hear me clearly?
yes, sir.
Yes, fine, fine. Okay, let me proceed. Now, forms of survey research. Here I need your answers from you. You can volunteer yourself. The first type is internet survey. What is this internet survey? Whatever you understood, you can reply. What is internet survey?
So, survey through which we do from the secondary datas. We go
Mhm.
through the secondary data on internet. So, that is internet survey.
So that talks about your secondary data, which is talking about literature survey. That's fine, agreed. But here our topic is on survey research. Survey research means like we are trying to collect the first-hand data. We are talking about primary data collection. In primary data collection, what do you mean by internet survey?
Okay, so then first, so the things which are on internet
Mhm.
and through which we do survey that what are the so according to our problem we find what are the things on internet. So
Mhm.
through survey, so that is internet survey.
Okay, good. So now let me make it much more clear. The internet survey is I'm using a platform, right, by using certain forms. Just now I have spoken with you, talked with you regarding Google Forms, Question Pro, and there are so many platforms, Survey Monkey, right? So these are all certain platforms. You can just have a glance at that. You can open Survey Monkey, find out like you can create a questionnaire by yourself. You take a topic, create a questionnaire, right, on that topic based on certain objectives. I've set you this flow. Have a topic on that. You have some
Uh,
objective what you want to
so
measure. Yes,
So, the survey, so there is also one survey on internet while playing YouTube or some videos. A survey, a questionnaire comes, a short questionnaire comes during that. So, it can be also called a internet survey.
excellent. That's what. You can use all these platforms. That is one form. That's what I'm about to say. You can use all these platforms where you have a title, you have an objective, and then you create a questionnaire. You use these platforms, whatever I mentioned as Question Pro or Survey Monkey or Google Forms, that you collected data. This is one format. Second, as you rightly said, once you are you are watching some YouTube content, or you are trying to read some article from the website, right? Or sometimes you want to read a ebook, right? Sometimes on ebook, and then they'll ask you certain questions. Did you like the product? Something like that. Even your review, right? Review system is also a part of survey. But the type of data is like quantitative and qualitative. There are two major methods: quantitative and qualitative. For example, if you just purchase a product online, and then after purchasing it, immediately there will be a box which will get opened for you, and then it will ask you what is your rating you can give. You'll give your rating. There will be an open-ended area where you can type whatever you feel like to do. This is also a primary data which is collected directly from the customer using the internet. Am I clear? Fine. So this we
Yes.
call it as qualitative data. And there is one more thing which we call it as quantitative data. See, here quantitative data is like you create a questionnaire which is mentioned in scales. For example, like we were discussing about demographic profile, like gender, age, and then occupation. So all these things are measured using certain scales. For gender, you'll give an option as male and female, and then you can code it, recode it, right? You will give a coding, and then you'll enter in the Excel, and then you'll try to find out a simple percentage. So these kind of analysis is possible on a quantitative data, but a qualitative data is something where the respondent is free to give his opinion. You don't have the choice to restrict them. They can give their own opinion. That's why you can find like in reviews they'll give the rating and they'll try to justify also why it is. Right. That will give you ample information as what has happened. Okay, that will give you as what the real feel of the customers after buying the product. Similar way, any kind of online platforms, or if you go through any e-courses, there will be certain data collection which will be done. Like please respond to the survey, which will take 2 minutes or 3 minutes, something like that. That's again give a valuable information. For any kind of research, normally there will be a combination of quantitative and qualitative. You cannot go with a single method just by giving a question and collecting the data. If you have a combination of quantitative and qualitative, which are as spoken now, that becomes the right mix for a data collection, where you will get a count and other things using a quantitative data, and you will get the real feel of the customers or real feel of the respondents through qualitative data, right? For which this internet survey is highly useful, right? Now, the next is mail survey. What is mail survey?
So
Just the
the
name,
survey which is done through mail,
simple. The survey which
so
is done
certain
through.
question I have which is sent to individual, is sent individually through mail via mail.
Exactly.
That
You
is
are
called mail
sending through
survey.
mail. See, this is also a mode which tries to use the internet as a platform. Am I right? All these things works on internet with the help of internet, right? So, but you'll try to mail the questionnaire to the appropriate respondents, and then you try to get the response from them. Sometimes you mix also, like for example, I'll send a mail stating that dear students, here with I have attached a Google form which is trying to measure the satisfaction of students on online buying. Kindly respond to the questionnaire and then revert it back to me. Here, what will happen is like the Google form is also one more format where I'm using, which will fall majority on the internet survey. But instead, if I send you a Word document and then ask you to tick in that, then probably that will fall under the category as mail survey, where you will reply to me that I'll take it and then I'll report. Sometimes you have a combination also. You send the Google form through mail and then you use the data. Right. So what is mall intercept interviews? Any guess? We are here. Mall intercept interviews. Bhushan, what is mall intercept?
So surveys which are done in malls or in groups.
Yes. Certain informations you cannot collect, you cannot find the respondents. Your audience will be, if you are trying to look for a consumer on certain product, then your right respondent will be like you are supposed to go to malls and then you have to collect data from them, right? So what you'll do is like you try to go to the mall, you just ask, you just stop the people and then you'll try to collect as many information as possible. But there are certain pros and cons in each and every method that we'll discuss. Now, door-to-door advertising, door-to-door interviewing. Sorry, what is door-to-door interviewing?
Census survey like we do. So it is door to door interview.
Yes, exactly. Census survey is kind of door-to-door. And You want to collect data from the household where you doesn't have a common platform to meet people like a mall. Then probably you could go to different houses and then you try to get the data. Right. You have collected Unnat Bharat Abhiyan data, right? In Himalaya and in few more villages, you have collected the data now. Yes, you people, you are in the MBA students have involved in the data collection now, the project along with Punja sir and that Manu sir and in the lead sir as well, Charles sir. So with all these people, you have went for collecting the data, right?
Yes, sir.
So here, what you did, you went door to door, and then you are trying to collect certain informations. And even Bhushan
Yes.
and Gibratri, right? So they both went for data collection relating to our FPO, not FPO, other project. So we had some project work for which they went to uh, one place and West Singapore, and then they have collected the data along with Barik sir and Gandhi sir. So that is also like you are trying to collect data door to door, right? So you go to people and then just go to their places and then collect the data directly, okay? Which involves certain risk at the same time, which involves certain cost also. Now, what about telephone interview? Any guess?
So on phone calls, questions are being asked
Mhm. Good. We'll try to ask,
individually.
yes, we'll try to ask questions using the telephone, right? These are all some kind of method which was used earlier, but still now also it is in existence. Where, for example, assume that you are getting a call from you had some Eureka Coke product, right? Water purifier or something like that. After the service or after the sale or after the service, they'll try to call you and check with you like, how you feel about this. We'll take only 2 minutes of your time. Can you give us some information relating to the service provided by our service person so that we can improvise? Here also you are trying to, they'll try to interact and then they'll try to collect information from you. Am I right? So this is like telephone interviews, and it can be used in the other way. You cannot travel around for different places. For example, you are not in a position to travel, but you want to collect information. You call the person, respecting the person, and then you phone, and then you try to collect the data from them. So using this mode here, you are using telephone as a mode, right? The next important thing is your focus group. So what is focus group? As I discussed earlier, there will be 7 to 10 people who participate, minimum 7 and maximum 10 in order to make the group efficient and the interaction efficient, who participate in the group, a discussion led by a moderator. For example, if you are organizing the focus group, normally you will be the moderator where you will try to find as much as information as possible. For example, you want to know about the growth that will happen in the future for the micro, small, and medium enterprises, right? Now, after this COVID-19 crisis, we want to understand what will happen to the growth and how it can be taken further. You want to identify certain ways where you cannot get a lot of literature as such. Am I right? You cannot search the internet and then find out like, how MSME can grow further after this crisis. Because micro, small, and medium enterprises, especially with micro and small enterprises, these are all not with like full of finance and stuff. They'll be having a lot of lending and they'll be running their booking, and then they want to sell the product, and with that they have to get the money back, and then they are supposed to give the salary to the employees, and it is not that easy to run a micro and small enterprises. It's much challenging, which an entrepreneur has to face, right? You might have studied in entrepreneurship. So what will happen here is like you try to uh, you want to find out what will happen after this COVID-19 crisis to this medium and small enterprises and how they can grow further, what help is required, and how to address it. If you want to know those things, then you cannot think by yourself. If you think by yourself, yes, obviously you'll get some points, but that will become a limitation. That will be a limited knowledge. After that, you can search the website where you can find some contents from the website in the name of blogs or sometimes kind of a report or sometimes time of a newspaper content. So those things also will not help you to a larger extent to understand the content, right? So what you do is you want to get opinion from different people who are all into this MSME or micro and small enterprises, where you are trying to get an expert opinion and different people's opinion. So what you do is you want the information, so you become the moderator and you will try to select people or invite people who are all from different domains. For example, an economist, a person from micro and small enterprises, a person from associations, right? So who are highly related with MSME, and sometimes, and it is mandate that you should have your entrepreneur also, one or two representative who is running a business as micro and small enterprise or medium enterprise. They should also be a part of it. Right. So with all these people, if you select some 7 to 10 people and then if you interact with them, then you will come to know a lot of information about like what can happen, what will happen, and what could be done in order to make the MSME more effective after this crisis, and what sort of funding is required, what difficulty they are predicting. All those information you will get. So this is also first-hand information what you are collecting, right? So for those purposes, in order to get more clarity and get more opinion from the experts, we try to go for a focus group discussion. Am I clear? Right. Next is like computer assisted telephone interview. Here, with the aid of computer, it will give you one option, then you will give it will ask you a question, and then you click an option, and then it will go for the next one. Again, you will click an option. So it is like it is not the person on the other side who will be interacting with you. You are using the computer systems or computer made softwares or programmed softwares where the voiceover will come, and once opinion is given, then it will go to the next one. So it is time consuming. Sometimes it may be costly also. Sometimes people will not give full responses. They'll cut and go off, but they'll not give the response from their end. So all these things can happen in a computer assisted telephone interview. Central location telephone interview. Here, if you look at the central location telephone interview, here the persons will be gathered in one single location. For example, assume that you want to collect data and your office is in Ranchi and you want to collect all over India. Then probably you cannot travel around. The other alternative is like yes, you get seated here, you try to collect the information and then started reading in the computer which is available in the local location, where sometimes people may get changed, but the data as well as the information which is stored in the computer will remain in a single location where you can access it, right? Where anyone can access it. So if these are all different platforms what you are using to collect the data, and everything has its own pros and cons. For example, internet survey. If you send through internet survey, like sometimes the response, not sometimes, most of the times the response rate means if you're sending some 500 questionnaire and for 500 forms and you will be getting only 200 or 250. It means if you get 250, then that is only 50% of response what you got. The response rate will be less. Mal-intercept interview, it will be time consuming and a little bit of costly affair because you have to go, you have to spend your time and money, right? Especially time. So that is again a factor. Likewise, mail survey also has its own response because there is no moderation or there is no checklist kind. So they'll try to give responses for certain options, and then sometimes people who are not that much computer savvy, they'll not open it at all. Just try to ignore it. Right? Door to door interviewing, that's a much big challenge. If you go door to door, then people will look you like a stranger, and you have to tell them what for you have come, and then majority of the times you will not get the response from certain houses. It is very difficult unless otherwise you are an authorized person or if you are collecting data on behalf of government. That too, if you go also, like people will be asking, what is the scheme you will be giving for us? Am I right, Bhushan? Bhushan, am I right in saying that? Bhushan is there.
Yes, sir.
That will happen now. Mostly, like people will ask, like, what is that you are going to give? When I'll get the money? Something like that. Because he has an experience for collecting data for the body, right? He went and asked, and then the people were arguing. So this also will happen. So there are certain sensitive issues as well as pros and cons for all these methods. Now let us move to the next one. Fine. The questionnaire design. Normally, when your question is making a questionnaire, there are different formats. The most important formats are open-ended, closed-ended, and scaled. Open-ended is like you will not give any choice for the respondent to give their response. It will be just like it will be opened, and then they can give any of their choice. For example, as said by Harshita, you will be giving your review, and then there will be an open choice where you're supposed to give your response. Whatever you feel, you can give it. That becomes open-ended question. When it comes to closed-ended question, you have the responses very clear. Closed-ended means there is no other choice for the respondent to go beyond. He's supposed to give within the choice. Scaled question is like you are trying to find out using some scaling. Normally, Likert scale, whatever we have discussed, Likert scale, 2-point scale. These kind of scales are used to collect data in order to find the respondent's attitude, opinion, something like that, right? So this is about questionnaire which can be used. So how to make a questionnaire, how it should be made, all these things we have discussed in our regular class itself. The questionnaire should be questionnaire should not have 2 to 3 variables in that. It should be very simple. It should have a standard flow. If you recollect, I have discussed this part, making of questionnaire, right? I have said like how to create a questionnaire using a established scale: work family conflict, conflict, and then family work conflict. With that questionnaire, I have explained. I have opened a journal article, and then we have discussed on that, right? So this you just go back and revise those content. And see, there are two major types of data. One is cross-sectional and longitudinal. So what is cross-sectional? What is longitudinal? Sapnashi, what is cross-sectional? What is longitudinal?
Sir, cross-sectional may be a single answer, one word answer kind of thing, and longitudinal may be subjective kind of answer.
Objective kind. Okay. Any other answers from your end? Other students.
Cross-sectional questions depends on the respondents,
Mhm.
but in longitudinal, the same questions we ask from each and every respondent. So, like the survey which we did, it was longitudinal.
Okay. Okay. Let me ask one more question. Who is a science student here? Someone who is in botany or something? You all might have had an experience of botany, right? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
To some
Who's a science?
extent, sir.
To some extent, fine. So there, while cutting a stem, normally there will be a stem, any kind of plant, a small plant, right, or a herb or something like that. You take it and then they'll ask you to make a cross-sectional cut. What does the cross-sectional cut means? Is it a horizontal cut or a vertical cut? On the
Sir,
plant, you want to
horizontal cut.
horizontal cut, right? So that is what cross-sectional. Longitudinal means it's vertical cut, right?
A
It's about.
vertical cut.
So here, what you are doing is like cross-sectional means in one go the stem will get cut, right? You're cutting it in one go, you can cut it. Similar way, cross-sectional is something in one go you collect the data. After that, you're not collecting the data. Okay. Whereas longitudinal, you can have so much of cut. Okay, means like longitudinal is simple to say you're collecting a data for a different time period or a different intervals, right? So different intervals means, for example, we want to find out the growth of a company, right, for the past 1 year. So how they are publishing the data, their financial balance sheets, right? So balance sheet, how it is getting published in the newspaper? Is it once in a year or twice in a year or 3 times in a year or 4 times in a year? Look into it, there will be quarterly reports, right? What is that quarterly report? It is like one data. Similar way, next quarter, second data, third quarter, third data, right? Likewise, we'll be having data at different intervals. If we do such kind of studies, we call it as longitudinal. Just go through the contents, cross-sectional and longitudinal. Hope you can see my screen. See, cross-sectional is one point in time, just one cut. Whereas longitudinal is several points in time. Means like you're collecting the data from the respondents at different time intervals in order to find whether the response is like just because of certain situation or it is because like it has come out, really it has come out. For example, I want to find out what is the satisfaction of employees in a organization. Okay, some XYZ organization. Here I can do two type of studies. Again, it depends on the time and cost. If I want to collect data just to know what is happening, just an outline, then probably I'll go for a cross-sectional data, right? So what I'll do is like I'll take one-time data, I'll create a sampling. If there are 500 employees, I'll make a sampling with maybe probability or non-probability sampling. I'll collect the data from the sample, whichever I have chosen. From them, I'll collect the data and generate a report and say this is what the satisfaction. If I want to know the information like whether they are satisfied from their field they are seeing or just like that based on some situation they are seeing. So what I'll do is I'll try to collect the data from different time intervals. Say for example, I'm planning to collect the data for almost twice in a year. Means like first 3 months one data and second 3 months one data. Let us make it a 6 months. So I'll try to collect the data within first 3 months one set of data. I can use the same respondents or sometimes different respondents, right? But mostly and preferably as per longitudinal, it is appropriate to go with the same sample of respondents. For example, in an organization where there are 500 employees are there, I have chosen 200. I have found that okay, who are all the 200? I have collected the first time data from those persons. Next time also, after 3 months, I try to collect from the same respondents in order to find whether the response is having some consistency or not. If you collect from different respondents and then put the same data, then there will be always 100% there will be shuffling, right? So it's better that you collect the data from the same respondents at different time intervals, and that becomes longitudinal data. So that is what one point in time, cross-sectional, longitudinal is several points in time. Here different samples are used. Means like you don't want to worry about the sample, but here same sample, right? So snapshot of a given point in time, change at a society level, it gives you just a snapshot. What has happened? That's it. Here it will tell like what has happened and what is the change of the individual. I'll give you one more example. We call it as pre and post. So assume that we are conducting some training. Before the training, what is your knowledge? For example, we are assume that we are giving a training on Excel using some Excel, Microsoft Excel, where you are applying some shortcuts and other things using the spreadsheet. So before attending the training program, what was your knowledge towards this particular Excel? And after the training program, what is your knowledge? If we want to measure that pre and post, that is a kind of a longitudinal. And again, the responses from the individual will be recorded in the same column or similar column. All right. So that becomes your longitudinal and cross-sectional, right? So that's it. This is about cross-sectional longitudinal. Now let me conclude. So here we have seen what is survey method, and we have seen what are all the various forms of survey research, and we have seen under that we have seen internet survey, mail survey, mall intercept, door-to-door, telephone interview, focus group, computer-assisted telephone interviewing, and then central location telephone. After that, we have done with questionnaire design, open-ended, what is closed-ended, and what is scaled, and then we have seen what is cross-sectional and longitudinal. Right. So with this, we are completing the content syllabus. Right. Let me have a glance at the syllabus. Okay, we have discussed on introduction to business research during your pre-midterm, pre-semester. I'm just trying to connect the introduction to business research, and then we have seen what is business research process with a diagrammatic representation, a flow chart, and in each stage what we'll do. And we have seen what is business research design, like what is like dependent and independent, extraneous variable, control variable, and all these things are completed. We have seen what is questionnaire design and what is measurement and what is attitude measurement. And after that, today we have seen what is survey research, right? Here, survey research we have seen. What do you mean by survey research, and what is question and what is cross-section, what is longitudinal, what are the different types of methods for a survey. And then we have seen what is multivariate analysis, like multiple regression, distance analysis, independence technique like factor analysis and cluster analysis. And then we have seen what is business research report, right? What do you mean by report? What is a oral report? What is a written report? What are all the contents that should be considered while making a report? And then last topic like research ethics. What is intellectual honesty and ethical honesty and misconduct, falsification, fabrication, and plagiarism? So these things we have discussed. How to avoid plagiarism. So these topics we have discussed. So with this, I'm concluding your questions. Now, if you have any queries, you can discuss. We will be having the next class by 12:40, right? Any queries? Okay, I just like to inform you before we leave. See, I have sent you certain links. Again, I'm telling you in your Swadhyaya, I have given you certain links, which is talking about certain important topics. Whatever topics that has been discussed, some additional informations you will get it from that. Number one. Number two, I have given you certain courses also. I asked you to enroll for the enroll for the course. Now I'll tell you like this is the right time for you to learn additional knowledge. Especially, I insist on learning about Excel, right? To start with, since you don't have much of exposure on the software, statistical softwares, I insist you to learn Excel, how to make analysis in Excel, because you will be starting your SIP where you will be using graphs and charts, right? For those things, for basic analysis, you should know how to do the analysis. For that purpose, there are a lot of online courses which is available in Udemy, and then you have Coursera, EDX. EDX is bit costly, where they'll try to charge somewhere around 3,000, 4,000, something like that. But Coursera seems to be much simple. I myself have enrolled for certain courses, and then I'm trying to do it. To try to enroll in that and try to have some courses, right? So especially with relating to basic data analysis, especially with Excel, or you just try to Google it and how to make analysis in Excel. That also you can learn, right? The most important thing is creating a concept. Analysis is one area, I agree with it, but the most important thing is the idea. What you want to do, how you want to do, and how scientifically it can be approached so that people are accepting your result. That's the core, right? Whatever topic you are choosing, you try to make it wise, and whatever topic you have taken, try to go deeper into it, make lot of secondary data analysis, secondary research, means like review of literature, try to understand the concept. If needed, you try to take some important articles and start reading twice, thrice, so that you will come to know the essence of it, identify the factors, understand the framework, create a framework, and then on that you try to create the questionnaire. The most important thing is like creating a topic on the and an objective, and then relating it with all the other literature and other stuff, and then creating a questionnaire, and then you go for data collection. If you are in your SIP, if you are collecting data, first-hand data, then try to do it in a proper. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, fine. So I hope we can wind up now, because we'll be having the next session by 12:40, because they are supposed to go out and come back as well. You know? So any queries, you can put it in, you can mail me, right? If you have any doubts, you can mail me. All right, yeah, thank you. See you all. Have a nice day.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, okay, bye, bye.